Hello folks, welcome to Golden Coast Woodworks. My name is Kyle. Today in the workshop, I'm going to be running all of my dust collection tubing as well as rebuilding my Harbor Freight dust collection modification setup. I'm specifically going to address the fine dust filter, which some people had issues with my original version. So if you'd like to see how I rebuild it and how my entire setup or my dust collection setup is in my workshop as it stands today, stick around. I started this project by dismantling my current dust collection setup, which meant removing the impeller motor and housing from this 2x4 structure it's sitting on and disconnecting the dust hose from the chip separator. Rather than building a structure to support the impeller motor and housing, I decided to attach it directly to the wall. I cut some scrap 2x4 to length, then mounted them to the wall with screws. Each screw is directly sank into a wall stud. In case you were wondering if these 2x4s can handle the weight of the impeller motor, I weigh about 230 pounds and it's supporting me just fine. Getting the impeller attached to the 2x4s was a struggle. Unfortunately, there wasn't a good way for me to do this and I had to basically manhandle it into place. After getting the first screw set, I used a level to make sure it was attached as level as possible to prevent as much vibration as possible. Here's a quick look at how the dust collector will be set up when everything is finished. All of the ABS pipes will be held to the wall using small strips of plywood and pipe hangers. The plywood strips are screwed into the studs and the hangers are then screwed into the plywood. This is the process I will follow to hang all of the tubing runs. Like the plywood strips, all of the ABS pipes are cut to length with my miter saw. There are a lot of repeated actions in this part of the project. I tried to make it as painless as possible while trying to show the entire layout of my dust collection tubes. I simply worked my way from one side of the shop to the other, hanging tube and attaching fittings. This short piece of ABS was used to make sure that the pipe hanger was aligned properly. I changed my mind after hanging this pipe and decided to alter my original layout plan. This required me to change this fitting from a 90-degree elbow to a split 90 fitting. I'm not sure what it's actually called, but it's basically two 90-degree elbows welded together. Here's a quick look at the layout so far. In case you're wondering why I don't have this section of the tubing running where the roof meets the wall, it's because I didn't have enough clearance to use the pipe hanger to hang the pipe, so I dropped it down a little. I wanted to leave expansion possibilities open for other tools down the road, so I incorporated this split into my layout, then capped it off. Here's a look at the finished tubing layout. In order to adapt these 4-inch aluminum blast gates to my 3-inch ABS pipes, I designed and 3D printed these reduction fittings. It was hard to get an exact fit, so I secured them to the blast gates with silicone adhesive. Before attaching the blast gates, I decided to make the tubing runs as airtight as possible. I wrapped all the joints in ducting tape, then with black gaffer's tape. The gaffer's tape isn't necessary, but the ducting tape was very reflective and I wanted to cover it up. All of the blast gates are friction fit to the vertical runs using a small piece of 3-inch tubing.
I 3D printed several fittings for my dust collection system. This is a reduction fitting that will adapt the Harbor Freight dust collector to 4-inch dust collection hose, as well as help attach the fine dust filter. This is the reduction fitting I spoke about earlier. This fitting allows me to attach my CNC dust boot to the Rockler dust ride hose system. This fitting will allow me to connect the dust ride hose kit to my dust collection system. It fits into and it gets glued to the blast gate with silicone adhesive. These are clips I designed to help provide clamping force to the edges of the shop vac filters that make up my fine dust filter. All three of the open ports in the Harbor Freight dust collector have reducers attached with silicone adhesive. This is done to attach dust collection hose and aid in attaching the fine dust filter. After allowing the silicone adhesive time to dry, I began attaching dust collection hose to the dust collector assembly. 4-inch dust collection hose is attached from the open end of my tubing to the chip separator, as well as from the impeller housing to the open port at the top of the chip separator. This port is for my CNC. The fitting I showed earlier is attached to the blast gate with silicone adhesive. At this point, I began attaching the dust collection hose to my tools. The end of the hose that is attached directly to the blast gate is secured with a screw-type hose clamp. The other end is attached to the tool with a thumb screw-type hose clamp. All tools are connected in this way with the exception of the CNC. With the tubing, blast gates, and hosing done, I can move on to the fine dust filter. I began by using my CNC to cut out the top and bottom pieces of the filter. These will allow me to both funnel the air into the filter assembly, as well as serve as an attachment point for the filter bag. I used tabs to hold the pieces in place while they were being cut and had to remove them. This is done with a flush trim bit at the router table. The bottom of the filter assembly has a notch cut into the outer edge so that the hose clamp used to hold the filter bag and have a positive stop to rest against. Unfortunately, I had this piece upside down and had to recut and redo this a second time. Assembly of the fine dust filter begins with the top portion. This section of the fine dust filter is designed to funnel the air into the filter assembly. It consists of a 90-degree elbow, a machined top, a small piece of 3-inch ABS, and a 3-inch ABS coupler. All parts are secured with silicone adhesive. The filter stack consists of 4 open-ended chop-back filters. Initially, I was attempting to connect all 4 filters with silicone adhesive and 3D printed clips, but ultimately opted to adhere the filters together, then install the clips later. The machine bottom is also glued to the bottom chop-back filter with silicone adhesive. After allowing the silicone adhesive to cure overnight, I glue the top assembly to the filter stack with more silicone adhesive. Now that the chop-back filters are sufficiently adhered to each other, I added the 3D printed clips to reinforce the connections between them. The rubber edges are very inconsistent and I struggled to get a few of them on. For added support, I added a bead of silicone where the top assembly meets the filter stack. I modified a dust-dried filter bag to fit around the bottom of the filter assembly. I secured it to the filter with a large screw-type hose clamp. All that's left to do now is attach the fine dust filter to the impeller housing. This is done with a small piece of 3-inch ABS. So that I can clean the filter when needed, I only use a friction fit to attach it. I will add some kind of fastener in the future if this becomes a problem. I realized when attaching the fine dust filter that the impeller housing needed additional support to deal with the added weight. I accomplished this by adding another 2x4 behind the housing and secure the housing to it. It's going to take some time to determine if this new filter assembly is going to be sufficient, but I have a suspicion that it's going to do the job just fine.
All right, folks, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please like, follow, subscribe, and most importantly, share Golden Coast Woodworks with your family and friends, and I'll see you next time in the shop.